All right, fellas, I think we're going to need to change our stance on young boys sleeping with older women. A lot of men online, especially when I share on my Instagram a story of an older woman sleeping with a young boy, the comment section is kind of like, damn, why couldn't that be me?
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
And hey, this has been happening for a long time, but back in my day, we didn't say anything. And that's true because we didn't have as much cell phones. And kids have a tendency to brag and record stuff. And so now you're seeing a lot of teachers and sometimes wives and single moms are getting in trouble for sleeping with kids because you're in the digital age. Like everything's recorded. And so I'm gonna share a couple stories, and then after the stories, I'm gonna tell you why you should change your stance on young boys sleeping with older women.
Guys, this is breaking news. A Tipton County, Tennessee grand jury has indicted 38-year-old elementary teacher Alyssa McCommon. Alyssa McCommon was indicted today on 23 counts of offenses against minors, many of which were her students. Investigators say that they have identified 21 potential victims. However, only 5 of those they've been able to substantiate enough evidence with to bring these charges. And with those 5 students, there are 23 counts, and I'm going to tell you what they are. But first, I want to remind you that Alyssa was initially arrested back in September after these allegations came to light in regards to one particular student. Alyssa was released on bond at that time. She was given strict instructions to have no contact with the victim. However, she could not help herself. She contacted that victim after she was released, and she was rearrested again. Now, according to a phone call that was played in court, a jailhouse phone call that was played in court back in October, Alyssa is pregnant with the child of a 12-year-old victim. She's been charged with 5 counts of aggravated statutory rape, 4 counts of exploitation by electronic means, 4 counts of solicitation of a minor to commit statutory rape, 2 counts of statutory rape by an authority figure, 2 counts of stalking, violation of a Child Protective Act, harassment, and tampering with evidence. Alyssa is a mother, and she is a former teacher at Charter Academy in Covington, Tennessee, which is in Tipton County. I do not see any reports as to when her next court date will be, but this is a story that I've followed closely since the beginning. As soon as there are more updates, I will provide them here.
A 45-year-old woman in South Carolina have been arrested after violating a 14-year-old boy. A cousin of the 45-year-old woman said, "I sent her a message on Facebook letting her know what was going on. Like, do you know it's a 14-year-old boy out here saying he took you to Pound Town? And not only is he saying it, he got you on video, and he's sending the video to everybody." In response to what her cousin was saying, the 45-year-old woman replied by saying, "That little MF, he came over here to play video games with my son. And when I got out the shower, he snuck in my room and he held me down and he made me do all that stuff.
That's crazy.
I tried to do everything to get away from him, but it was like I couldn't move. So I got tired of fighting with him, and I just let him do what he wanted to do so it could be over with. Think about it. I'm old enough to be that little boy mama. Would I look like doing something like that? And how was he recording it? I didn't even see a cell phone in his hand." Police said after watching the video, you could clearly see the 45-year-old bouncing on top and the 14-year-old underneath her.
So after listening to those 2 stories, there are many reasons why we should change our stance on little boys sleeping with grown women. I know a lot of y'all grew up and said, man, that teacher was so hot. I would have loved to sleep with that teacher or whoever that grown woman was, and you were probably like 15, 16. But a lot of the times in these cases, these kids are 12, 13. Even if they're 16, 17, it's still wrong because they're taking advantage of them. So in the first story, this lady slept with over 21 kids. Now, here's the thing. You don't know if she's using protection. If she's not using protection, she has, let's just say, HIV or some kind of STD. There's like potentially 21 kids that might have been infected. So you've got the STD situation. You've got the fact that she's controlling the situation because she's the adult in the situation. And then in the second story, the lady was lying. If he didn't record that video, there would be no proof that he didn't rape her, because she's, turned around and saying, oh, he held me down. And then, there's a video that he recorded of the whole situation, and she's bouncing on him. So you see how it can flip on your kids. So if you have a son and you think it's cool for your son to sleep with an older woman, just know that it can turn around on your son, and it could be, oh, well, I didn't really want to do anything with him. He forced me as a minor to do it. And then now, your son is caught up. So fathers, we're the ones that are usually okay with this scenario. And I've met a few fathers that have said, hey, this is wrong. I don't approve of this. But a lot of men are like, yeah, he's now a man. Did he have fun? No, man. There's STDs and all kinds of crazy bad things that could come from this. So what y'all need to understand is a lot of women, they can't get the man that they want, or they realize that they can't control a grown-ass man. So they're dating minors, or, not even dating, because you can't date a minor. So they're sleeping with minors and they're controlling them. And your son could now be into things he wouldn't normally be in if he would have messed with somebody his age. They're going to go have your kid doing stuff that you wouldn't do in the bedroom because they're kids. And so fathers, we really need to take a stance on this of, this is not okay. Don't want my son involved with this. If I found out my son was involved, you got to make sure it ends right away. Police would want you to turn that teacher in, because if they find out, you can actually go to jail for not telling them that it was happening. It's usually like a 1-year sentence. So, but you got to think about the negative effects that it could have on your son, because if that's like his first experience, now he's only dating older women, and he has no interest in girls his age, because it really could affect them negatively. But for the most part, we need to think about your kids and their health. I mean, if you're a parent, you have to think from a parent mindset first, and not necessarily from a man, oh, this is great, I want my son to have sex at some point. Yeah, no, not with a teacher, not as a minor. Like, this has to be a no for every man. Like, don't be okay with this shit, even if you wanted it back in the day. You have to grow up at some point and say, nah, this is not okay.